Hey, how you doing? So today I'm just going to be adjusting my chain tension. You can see that sag in the middle. So you want to take care of that. You don't want to be riding around with a chain that's too loose and slapping against the top there. So just going to go through what you need to do this. So some sort of measuring stick like this, so you can measure the distance that the chain moves in its center point. Or you can directly use some kind of ruler or set square like I've got here, where you make the markings with a pen, which I'll do in a moment, and then you can measure the distance. So tools that you're going to need: you're going to need a torque wrench screw, 34mm head. You're going to need a T45 Torx drive screw head and ratchet, and that's it. That's all you need. Easy. Probably a rag to clean your fingers, but the cleaner your chain, the better. Right, so here's all you need to focus on: the main axle nut there and the adjusting screw, and you have got the markings on the side, or you should have, for 30 to 40mm or 1.2 to 1.6 inches of travel of your chain. There's also a couple of markers on the side there, but I tend not to use them. You can do it by feel and measure. So we need to loosen that nut, and then we'll do the adjusting screws on both sides. Very simple. There's no nut there on that side. The axle locks into place, and you don't need to unscrew it from that side, just on this side. So put together your big old torque wrench and head, and set it to at least 100 Newton meters of force. I actually set mine to 110. I just like that extra little bit for whatever reason. Just one of them things. But 100 should be fine. So set that up. You don't need to do that right now because we're taking it off, but that's done for when we tighten it up in a minute. So when you take off the nut, loosen the nut, don't take it off completely. There's no need to. Just one full turn or 1.5, something like that, and that's it. You just need to loosen that axle or the axle nut away from the frame just then, because we're going to be adjusting the chain just by using the adjusting screw, hence the name. So put together your T45 bit, slap it onto a ratchet, and away you go. So one little more slap of the chain so I know where we're at, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll start with a half a turn or 2 quarter turns to make it easy. So set it in place, quarter turn, back we go, and one more quarter turn. You see the chain tightening up as I did that, quite substantially actually. So you only need little movements, but do exactly the same on the other side. Just assume that your wheel is in proper alignment, as it should have been from any recent service, and just do the same on the other side so you don't lose track. And that's it. Come back and check it. Now I can tell that's too tight just by looking at it, just by feel. But for the purpose of going through the motions, I'll show you what we do. We measure it at its slack point from the full, pull it downwards and then lift it up, and mark from the center of the rivets in the chain. And then you get a more accurate kind of reading, because that's then the full movement. So that's too tight, so I'm going to loosen it off by 1/4 of a turn. And I'm just going to do the same on the other side. Just bang that in there and do another 1/4 of a turn loosening, and then back we go to check it again. So we'll have a look. I can feel that's better, but maybe still not quite right. So what we'll do here is just kind of measure that to see where we're at. So just take like I've got here, a stick just firmly on the ground, mark the bottom. I didn't quite do it there on the center of the rivet. I think it's because I knew in my head it's not going to be right. But if you do it perfectly, that's come up at about 1 inch. So we want a little bit more play in that. That's still a little bit too tight. So back we go to make another little adjustment there, just to kind of free that up a little bit. So another way you can measure it, if you just want to go directly onto some kind of, like this set square I've got here, just balanced on a brick, that's easy. And then you can just, bang, bang, 2 markers, and you can just see straight away where you are in millimeters or inches. So I need another little small adjustment here. So what I'm doing is 1/4 of a quarter turn. So 1/8 of a turn, back around, same on the other side, 1/8 of a turn. And that should give me then a bit more play, which will take it up to just over 1 inch, which is where we kind of want to be, really. So we'll just test that out now and make sure that's the case. Now I've got my bike on the center stand. You really need to be doing this on the side stand. I am going to check it finally right at the end, but just for ease of viewing this on the camera, it's on its center stand. But the manual says that the bike should be on its normal weight, so do it on the side stand when you're doing it. So I can tell now that this is about right. And you will know from experience what's about right, but the first few times you do it, you probably want to measure it and make sure you've got a good feel for where it should be. It probably touch the chain casing at the top, but it won't be so loose that it will be slapping hard. So that's all good. So now we put it on the side stand. Open toe sandals are optional for a £500 machine, but that's up to you. And there it is. So you can measure it one more time. I haven't, just because I know it's about right, but just stick your measuring stick under there, check that you're in the right kind of place for movement, and you're good to go. Very simple, little bit of maintenance. Anyone can do it and should do it. When you see a little bit of sag in your chain, don't wait until the annual maintenance. Do it yourself right away. Hope that was helpful. Give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I look forward to catching you in the next video. Ciao for now.